Donkey Pilot here, and today we're gonna talk about helicopter flight pedals for the computer. Especially for VR using, it's great to have pedals that fit to what you see in the VR. It's kind of weird feeling when you move pedals or you don't move pedals at all and your feet's moving. But actually you're turning your hand on the joystick to yaw. So the pedals take that feeling and then adds to the total VR experience, which is really great. While I was looking into the right pedals, I found 4 main pedals that I came across with the Logitech G SideTech Pro, which is $182, the Thrustmaster TFRP for $109, the Thrustmaster's pedals Pendular for $536, and the VPC Warbird for $228. Now when we give them a closer look, we will see that the Logitech and the Thrustmasters, they do have toe brakes, which is pretty good to use for airplanes taxiing on the ground. Except the VPC Warbird, it does not have the toe brakes. So if you're taxiing around a lot and where you want to have individual wheel brake on the right and left wheel, then you cannot use the warbirds. For helicopters, since we mostly use skids, it's not a big deal anyways. I do not find the Logitech too much realistic because you put your heels on the pedals. And most helicopters, you keep usually your heels on the floor and slide on the floor, which gives you a little bit more precision and the small movements. So also it's $182, and for $40 more I can have the VPC Warbirds completely in metal and really high quality. And so I choose not to use the Logitech SideTech. And the Thrustmasters, they're really close together on the pedals, and also some reviews say it's too closely spaced. And the Pendular Thrustmaster, it's $536, which is quite a lot. So since I do not need the wheel brakes, I choose to go with the VPC Warbird. And let's take a closer look to the VPC Warbird. The good thing about the VPC Warbirds, it keeps your heels on the ground, and also it does not have additional stuff like a toe brake, and it's completely out of metal, so it gives you a little bit more stiffness and durability. Also what I really like is the space between the pedals, which is more realistic than the closely spaced Thrustmasters. VPC Warbird pedals. And VPC is probably VIRPIL controls. I don't know how to pronounce that. And yeah, let's get right to it. It looks pretty nicely packed. We have a side section here. Let's see what's in here. Okay, these are the connections. And some screws and adjustment stuff. Oh, these are the pedals as itself. Okay, let's see what's in here. Okay, that's the main mount, it seems. Oh my god, is that heavy! Wow, that's pure quality. That's pretty heavy. Okay, so we have an adjustment spring here. Here the pedals go, which are still in here to put them on. And it slides in an angle. So I wonder, like when I push it in, this side basically moves away from me, and this side also moves away from me when I push it in, of course, and it moves towards me. You can see like the line moves over this way when it comes out. So I wonder if that feels any unrealistic when that happens. That was the only thing. I was not sure if I should buy it, if I should get them because of that. We'll see how that goes. And I might get rid of the spring because helicopter paddles usually do not have a center function. Like when you go off the paddles, they don't just go to neutral position. They're usually stuck at the position, or they remain at the position you have, or they go all the way into a left pedal, depending which helicopter you fly. In the US helicopters, they usually have left torque pedal. So to prevent an accident right pedal, which would be horrible because then you would spin around like crazy, they have a spring in the control rods that usually pulls them all the way to the left, or somewhere in the middle, around with a little bit of left input, somewhere around here. But I do not know of any helicopter I've flown that has a spring center to put it back. So I might just remove the spring completely, and maybe down the road I have to see if I put a string where it puts the left pedal in like that. Yeah, but I don't want like the center function. Okay, so to remove the center function, we just remove the spring here and here, and that's about it. And now it doesn't have the spring function anymore. It has some kind of a neutral position right here. Like it wants to go back in here, but there's just a small force needed to overcome that center position, like a super small force, like that. So it still wants to click in, kinda ish, right around here, and then it goes back. But it's like super gentle and sensitive, and you probably can only feel it with your fingers. I don't think you can feel it when you have your feet actually on it. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with those things. I'm just gonna leave it in like this because they're gonna click when I go all the way. But I don't think that's like a regular flying thing. You go like that on the on the paddles. So most of the authority area would be somewhere around left pedal in, somewhere around there, neutral position, where left pedal is a little bit more in than usual, and somewhere over here to maybe here, somewhere over there. That would be the normal operating range, I think. We'll see how that goes. I will mount the pedals now. Okay, so I mounted the first pedal, and what I really like, there are some multiple holes, so I can adjust the width of the pedal, which is really cool. And all you need to do is just remove that screw here on both sides and just put it on. I also figured there's some adjustment springs comes with it, different strengths. So if you want to have a different centering strength, you can change the spring. But again, in my case, I want to use it for helicopters, and the helicopters do not have that. So what I could do is I can remove that leveler here, which is supposed to be the spring. Back here, I can just remove that screw and get it out. However, I just want to leave it here in case I'm decided to put the spring back on, and it's not really in the way. I can still have full authority, so I will leave the arms on for now. Okay, so I mounted the pedals on both sides now in the center position. Just I think that's a realistic distance between the pedals. I figured I just played around a little bit with the center spring function, and since a few helicopters do have a left pedal in neutral position, if you fly that kind of helicopter in a simulator, you can experiment around with the spring like I did, and there are some holes here. I don't think they're made for that purpose, but you can use those holes to put the spring here, so it will center the left pedal in, and depending on which spring you're going to use, it will pull them stronger or less strong to the left side. Again, it depends really on the helicopter you're going to use. I will not do it for now. I will remove it again. But you know, you just have the option. Just want to say you have the option to drill holes here and to connect those, the left side, to have a little bit left pedal in neutral position. Okay, I want to show you the pedals I used before. It was a really low budget solution. These are from the steering wheel from my racing car setup. So I used the pedals in a way where you left pedal in, you turn the nose to the left, of course, and right pedal in, nose to the right. However, it's a 2-channel setup. So basically that means you have in here from 0 to 100% and here from 0 to 100%. And because of that, some simulators, for example the X-Plane, did not recognize it as a pedal, because you would have to have both pushed in like that and then move this one in and out to get it as a pedal working. However, for example in Arma, which I really love as a flying simulator, it did work because it was a 2 separate channel setup and I could do it. Starbird's pedals, it is just a single channel, meaning you have in the middle 50%. You have either way this like that, 0% and 100%. So it's just one channel from 0 to 100. And because of that, simulators should be able to recognize it as a proper pedal, and it should work. And all you need to do is just plug that cable in and a USB, of course, and that's it. And we will try that out just in a second. Okay, so this is my test setup. I put the pedals down here. I have a HOTAS here between my legs, and I have the collective here, which I use the thruster. And in Arma, it works pretty well to the pedals, and the stick, which is pretty cool too, at the same position, and my collective up and down. So all I did for the collective, I just squeezed it in here on my chair with the bottle. It's a temporary solution until I have a better setup, and that's how I'm gonna fly and try it out. Okay, I'm flying now, and I must say the pedals are very precise. Like even a small movement here does a lot here, and you can see it on the turn slip indicator on the little plane here. Like when I move right pedal, left pedal, I can move it like perfectly in the middle. Right here, you have like small dots. I just don't want to crash, so that's why I have to climb now. So it's up. It should come down now, so now you can see it. Like left pedal, right pedal. I can precisely control it, and it's pretty cool actually. I was afraid, like because it doesn't have a Hall sensor, I was afraid it's not sensitive enough and not precise enough. But it's pretty cool actually. It works very, very precisely. I don't know if you can see it on the pedals. Now, after all, I can say the pedals do the job really well in Arma as well in X-Plane, and I'm really happy with them. I will continue adding some clips here of my flying I did, and if you want, you can watch it. And anyways, thank you very much for watching the video, and hopefully see you soon. Danke Pilot. Bye bye.